Contrast uncut, yeah, you know that's us. Where we only speak the real and the real rock with us. Where we motivate the people and politic on success. Oh no, we ain't DJ Khaled, but they swearing we the best. Contrast uncut, contrast uncut, contrast uncut, contrast uncut.
What's happening? It's Contrast Uncut. It's season 3, episode 31. Man, big shout outs to Uncle Snoop's Army and Bobby D Presents. I appreciate you, brothers. It's your host, Zylo, aka DJ Juan Dollars Like I Won Some Money. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a really dope special guest. You know, he's from the D, Detroit, Michigan, by the way of LA. You know, he's an actor, director, stand-up comedian, a host of major wave podcasts. You know, his talent started at an early age from musical auditions and early success, from plays to the big screen and now the big stage. You know, he's known for the lead role of Jake Peters in Lifetime film, A Night to Regret. He's also known for numerous television roles, including series regular Luther Montage on the Fox Digital series, Suit Up, as well as recurring guest star roles on Justified, Why Women Kill, Games People Play, which my family loves watching that show. I have the pleasure of having Kevin Mack, everybody. How you doing, brother?
What's up, man? I'm great. It's been a crazy week, but I'm happy to have gotten through it so far.
Man, so, you know, how is the world treating you in real time? I know, like we talked about a little off camera, you protesting for the social injustice, you know, Black Lives Matter. You know, what's your take on it, and you know, what's been like for you?
I've been out since the protests started in Los Angeles. I've been out for every protest, pretty much every major protest, at least in every city that's been in the area. I've been out the whole time. So as the protests turn into riots, I was reporting from the front lines, downtown, and then Fairfax district, and then over by 3rd Street, and then God, where else were we? And then we bounced over to Santa Monica. We're in the Santa Monica protest / looting riot, and then Long Beach. So I've been all over.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, those are pretty intricate parts of the city that most people travel to, and you know, it's important that, you know, you're giving your testimony of what it's like in those areas. I mean, those are real glitz and glamour areas. At the same time, those are real groundbreaking areas. Downtown LA, that's, you know, some of the biggest protest areas for teachers, for the union, for, you know, any right that needs to be recognized, they'll stop the traffic. And, you know, that's a big thing.
It's important to be part of it. It's an important to be not only part of history, but to be on the right side of history. Growing up in Detroit, I was blessed that I kind of grew up in a melting pot. I was I was one of the few white people in my neighborhood, in my area. So I grew up around Black culture, and I personally have always known that Black Lives Matter. So it's surprising to me that that's something that people don't know. But it was important for me to be part of it. I've just over the past week, I've been hit in the back of the leg with a police baton while trying to help an elderly Black gentleman from the ground to keep him from being trampled by the police and the protesters. I've been shot with rubber bullets. I've been hit with flashbang grenades, and I've almost got jumped by looters. So in the past week, it's been a crazy day. It's been a crazy week, but an important week and an important thing to be part of.
You know, that's amazing testimony. You pretty much touched every video that has circulated online of what people are really experiencing. And, you know, it's incredible to have your side of it, because yes, you know, you are on the right side of it. What's going on in society is wrong. And, you know, by us being able to keep our mouth open and our feet and hands moving in the right direction, change will happen. You know, today's day 7 of the protest in real time. And, you know, It's amazing that we are at day 7, because if we go back to the 1960s, on right after Martin Luther King was murdered, it was 6 days after protesting straight that we got the civil rights movement signed, and
Right.
there was justification to a degree there, but it still continued, and now we're at day 7. So I wonder how much more longer this is going to proceed, and what do you think of how long you got it in you to keep on going out there and do what's right?
I mean, I don't think that there should be any time restraint on how long it takes for change to happen. I think it's important to not to focus on the negatives of what's happening, but to see the positives that are happening as well. As difficult as the news media makes it to see those things, I think that the news media kind of their narrative is almost violence porn. They're trying to push an agenda that these protests are all violent and looters, and there's a lot of love on both sides. I've seen love from both sides of the line. I've watched as police officers have rushed forward to help protesters that have been injured, or protesters that have dropped from dehydration and things like that. I've seen protesters help police officers off the ground when they were forcing protesters forward. I've seen police officers and protesters and National Guardsmen hugging and shaking hands. It's not all negative. There's a lot of love that's happening, and I think the first 3 or 4 days were definitely high pressure days, and we were seeing a lot of the violence. But over the past 3 or 4 days, I think we've started to see nonviolent protests, true nonviolent protesters stopping looters and stopping vandals from making the protests turn violent. And I think that the police have seen that, and the police have seen kind of the error in their ways and the way that they handled the situations in the first 3 or 4 days, and they're starting to see that you'll get a lot further with love than you will with violence or trying to hold people down. So I think the first step in anything like this is a conversation, and the conversation is being forced now, and people are actually starting to see each other's sides of things. And I think the important thing that differentiates this from the past is, and this is something I've been talking about in the past, white people in general looked at it as their problem, as a black problem, as a brown problem, as an Asian problem, and they never took part in it. And I think now white people are starting to see that the only way that you progress is if you become part of progression.
Yes, back then there was no accountability. There was nobody, there was very few selected pictures you see from any of the protests and movements of any of our skin color in the protest. They're very rare. And
right.
The principle of it now is that, we're not naive about it. We're front lines to a degree, to a lot of it. And, it's exciting to see. It's more of just a reflection of our growth. And, we need someone to police the police, and we're all willing to take stand and catch rubber bullets, tear gas, and everything else that comes our way to make sure that the mission gets accomplished. Because bottom line, social injustice is plain flat out wrong. We let it go for so long, and I feel like I can talk to you for this for hours, and I definitely want to make sure I go into your history and showcase who you are, get to the reflection of the show, and get you going. So I have this quote, and let me know how this quote relates to you. And the whole idea is to get you to talk about it. If it doesn't relate to you, it's all good. Not gonna hurt my feelings. You're still gonna talk about it.
All right.
All righty. I'll say things that are serious and put them in a joke form so people can enjoy them. We laugh to keep from crying. Kanye West.
As a stand-up comedian, that quote relates to me quite a bit. A lot of my comedy comes from a place of dark material in my life. I'm a child of abuse and a child of abandonment. I never met my father. I was raised by a single mother. I had a stepfather who was an alcoholic, abusive individual. And I feel like you can either use those experiences to define you, or you can use them to drive you. I used those experiences to drive me, and made comedy out of those situations. Not only that, but I actually wrote a movie that's semi-autobiographical that we're going to be that I'll be directing and producing, hopefully in September now, possibly October. Thank you. We were supposed to start filming in August. We got the script got picked up by a production company. We got a nice budget, and we've got some pretty big names attached to it. But with everything happening with COVID-19, it got pushed. But I agree with that statement. I think the ability to laugh at the misfortune in your life gives you more motivation to better yourself from that situation, and to not fall into those situations yourself, to be that type of a person. I think if you're unable to laugh at misfortune, then you're unable to move past it.
Come on. And I think that's the whole thing about society today, is that they're not able to get past anything, so they can't face it.
Yeah.
And
I think once you get to a point that you can make light of a situation, and you can see the comedy in the darkest situations, it gives you the ability to push past it. There's always going to be shit. Shit's always going to happen.
Come on.
The ability to laugh at the shit that happens is important.
Absolutely. You know, I know you don't know too much about me. The viewers know a little bit, but because I've grown throughout this entire experience. But, my father passed away when I was 4. And, you know, he moved to LA, met my mom, and she was Mexican. So pretty much my family on the East Coast cut him off. And so he started a company, and then he passed away. And then, you know, we had to figure it out from the struggle. So I can definitely relate to you when you talk about growing up and, you know, dealing with the struggles. I definitely got into the streets more instead of staying at home and, you know, facing certain things. And, you know, it taught me a lot, but it got me in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
So, you know, we could definitely relate. My mother was actually from Detroit, Michigan. You know, my family did stuff in Grand Rapids, Michigan, my dad's side of the family, and they did a lot back in the day.
Yeah, my brother lives in Grand Rapids.
Oh, dope. Furniture capital of the world.
Yes, sir. Now it's the brewery capital of the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Fun times.
I'm sorry about your father, by the way.
Oh, no, it's all good. You know, it allows us to grow and evolve and reflect what life would be versus the life you appreciate daily.
Absolutely.
So, man, as I'm talking about me, I'm ready to dig into you, and I'm talking about entertainment industry. You know, did the game choose you, or did you choose the game?
The game, I guess I would have to say the game chose me. I've known what I wanted to do since I was 5 years old. I'm old enough that I used to pop VHS tapes in the VCR when I was a kid. Anytime that I would hear somebody on TV with an accent, I'd throw in a VHS tape and record the accent, and I would just play it over and over and over until I could do that accent. When I was, 6, 7 years old, I was running around doing English accents and New York accents and Boston accents. So I always knew what I wanted to do. For some reason, I just knew I had to be on TV.
Fair enough. And the fun way how the world works and receives it is that you did the necessary steps to get yourself on TV.
True. And it also served me well living in Detroit, because a lot of trying not to get your ass whooped when you're in the wrong hoods is making people laugh. So that served me well. When someone's about to whoop your ass and you just throw on an English accent for no reason, and they start laughing, it saves you an ass whooping. So it's nice. It's helpful.
In my personal experience growing up in LA, I've never done that. I just got the ass whooping by the gang.
Sometimes you gotta just throw a little bit of humor in there, man.
Oh, no, you ain't lying. I definitely found a way to talk to them so that they didn't, check us every time and ask us where we're from. So,
you gotta get that hood pass.
Absolutely. It takes a little smiling and humor. You don't know how many times back in the day you had to lean like a cholo and tell the story.
Facts. Big facts.
So, bro, what's some of your confirmation that this is what you're supposed to be doing with your life? I know you got an early success doing musicals. and from auditioning and it got you traveling, you got showcased in the newspaper, on the news in Detroit. But what was like your first confirmation that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and it kept on leading to who we have today?
I would have to say, as far as TV and film go, I would have to say, when I moved out here, I didn't know a single person. I had never been to LA, didn't know anything about LA. I found my apartment on Craigslist on a Thursday, packed my stuff up on a Friday, left Saturday morning in a truck, drove 2,600 miles, no sleep for 3 days. Got here and was like, okay, how do I get into the movie industry? And I was walking down Sunset Boulevard handing out business cards that I had printed out on my own computer that said Kevin McNamara, professional actor. And I walked by all the outdoor cafes, and anybody who had a BlackBerry, an iPhone, or a nice watch, I just stopped and assumed they were in the TV industry and just said, hey, I'm Kevin McNamara, I'm new to town, I'm a professional actor. If you have any projects, I would love to be part of it. That's how I thought you did it.
Brilliant.
And I walked all the way down Sunset, handing them out. And as I turned around and came back the other way, I was watching my business cards blow across the street. And I was like, I don't think this is how you do it.
It relates to party promoting in Hollywood and other major cities when you pass out flyers trying to get them to go to the event, trying to get some money on each person that goes in, and you just all across the street. I understand. Yeah,
man. There's a really funny joke that a stand-up comedian used to tell. He said, people who hand out flyers are like saying, here, you throw this away. Mitch Hedberg said that. He's a very funny stand-up comedian. But yeah, that was how I thought it worked. And then the thing that kind of gave me the idea that I was doing the right thing was I stalked my first agent. I called him day after day after day. He wouldn't take a meeting with me, so one day I just walked into his office and I walked right past his receptionist, and I walked into his office and I said, I'm Kevin McNamara. I'm the guy who's been calling you nonstop every day. I said, I'm not going to stop bothering you until you give me an opportunity to audition for you. And he's like, Jesus Christ, man, just what do you want to do? And I said, give me a monologue. I'll learn it. I'll perform it for you. If you don't think I have the chops, I'll leave you alone. I'll never bother you again. So he gave me a monologue from a movie called Tigerland with Colin Farrell. And he said, take this, go home, learn it, and then call me and we'll set up a meeting. And I said, no, I'll go in the lobby right now and I'll learn it. And he's like, this is a 4-minute monologue. I said, okay. So I went in the lobby. I memorized it in about 15 minutes. Went back in his office and I did the monologue, and he was like, you're not SAG. You're not in the union. I really don't know what I can do with you, but you're fucking talented, so I'm gonna give you a shot. And he signed me, and my very first audition I booked. It was a top of show guest star on the show called Cold Case, which was the #1 show on TV at the time. And I was like, all right, maybe I got something. So yeah, 13 years later, I'm still pushing.
There it is there.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people move to LA and Hollywood to live the dream. You definitely were able to accomplish it and, live the dream by hard work, dedication. But, what are some of the challenges you face with auditioning and, coming from a different region and state? And, what was it like, from stage to screen?
I would honestly have to say I prefer stage. I prefer theater. Just because it's instant gratification. The crowd is right there. The same reason I like stand-up comedy. There are no cuts. There are no reshoots. There's nothing. You either know your shit and you get out on stage and you do it and you connect with an audience, or you don't.
Facts.
And you're out quick if you don't. And I love that. I think that's the truest form of acting. But I would say,
bro.
I'm sorry?
I'm a thespian, so
yeah. So you know. I think there's actors, and then there's theater actors, and I think theater actors are the real deal. I would have to say that the most difficult thing for me, and as you know, as a thespian, it's hard to turn it down a little bit. Stage acting is so much different from film and television, because stage acting you have to enunciate, you have to project, your movements are big, because you're trying to play to the back of the room.
Yes.
Whereas on film and television, everything's very small and real and normal. So that was difficult in the beginning, and then I'm heavily tattooed, so I lose a lot of opportunities because of that, because of all the dumb art that I liked when I was like 19 and 20 that I am now in the process of having removed. But yeah, those have been the toughest things, the two toughest things to overcome.
Now, I know you talked about two toughest things to overcome, but what have been some of the highs and lows across your career? You know, to how we have, you know, today where, you know, you're going to set up for production here soon for your autobiography, which is amazing. You know, so, you know, what are some of the highs and lows before you got to that accomplishment?
I would think that I would say the highest point for me so far was doing 2 seasons of the show Suit Up for Fox Digital. That was a really fun show. I enjoyed being one of the leads on it. It was the character was really fun. It was a comedy. I was playing a white Jewish hip hop record label owner, producer, which was really fun. We shot down in New Orleans for 2 seasons. We shot 26 episodes of that show. So I would say that's the high point. That was a lot of fun. I would say the low point is now. Everything that's going on with COVID-19, the industry being shut down for the past 3 months. I haven't done stand-up in 3 months. I haven't auditioned really in 3 months. I haven't been on set, and it's been really difficult to stay motivated and to stay creative during this time when it feels like there's no real definite answer of when we'll go back to work. I mean, both of the shows that I'm on, the Why Women Kill for CBS and Games People Play for BET, we were supposed to start filming in April. We were supposed to start filming season 2 of both shows in April. And we haven't even been given any kind of idea when we're going to go back to work. So it's, and when we do go back to work, what is that going to mean? I mean, we don't know how many crew members we're allowed to have on set. We don't know what the rules are going to be as far as, you know, roles where you have to kiss or hug or be around each other, or is that going to be allowed? How we're going to have to do rewrites or what it is. So I'd say now is probably the lowest time for sure.
No, that's very logical, because as everything's a mystery and it has to be solved, you know, the biggest thing is the what ifs, but, you know, we can control what we can control and let go of everything else, and, you know, it's going to come together some kind of way. That's the whole thing about being persistent and consistent about everything you do.
The good thing is that there's a lot of work that's going to be coming up. This thing has been a blessing and a curse. I mean, you've got everybody at home that are just, they're flying through content. So when this is over, all of the production companies are going to be going crazy trying to get as much content shot as possible. So that's good for actors and writers and creators. That's one thing that I'm looking forward to. And I've already been in talks with Netflix about post-theatrical production, or I'm sorry, post-theatrical distribution for the movie, and in talks with Netflix for 2 series that I created and wrote. So things are on the up. We're just waiting to get the thumbs up to start getting moving on it.
Oh, that's incredible, brother. I feel like you have a lot more in store, but I'm gonna take a pause on the entertainment. I have this next segment. It's my awareness segment. You know, you're gonna jump through some hoops and loops with me through my next 3 segments, but you know, we're gonna be able to reward you with some promotion at the end, talk about some more of the stuff that you're doing and what you're working on. But before we get there, I gotta get into my awareness segment. It's about police interaction. You know, I'm talking about when the red and blue lights hit, the high beam hits, you know, to see who else is in the car. You hear the blurp sound and we're getting pulled over. The high beam never leaves and you get an officer approach you. And I ask every guest, you know, when was the last time they were pulled over and what's advice they can give to somebody that's, you know, in that situation with the police and interaction.
I think the last time I got pulled over was about 3 months ago, I want to say. somewhere around there. I think it was just before COVID, the quarantine started. My experience when I get pulled over is typically it's typically not that difficult. Obviously, with me being an older, middle-aged white man, typically they're just kind of wanting to see what's going on. I drive a lot of older vehicles, classic cars. That's what I'm into. A lot of times my lights go out and things like that because you're talking about a 40, 50-year-old car. So it's understandable, but I know my rights. So when I do get approached by police officers, I don't roll the window all the way down. I don't automatically just start handing out licenses and things like that. I do keep my hands in view. I keep them on the wheel. I think that's important. And I also, I always film every time I get pulled over. I turn my phone on, and I think it's important especially for people of color. This is something that I've been talking about. Don't just film the police. Because when you just film the police, if they have an ability to get into your phone, they can delete whatever recording you have. Live stream, always live stream. If you live stream there, then there's a recording, and there's witnesses always. To just record them and save it to your camera roll, it's dangerous. It's important to have witnesses. It's important for there to be a record. So I always live stream when I get pulled over. And I just always enunciate everything that I'm doing. So if I'm given an order by a police officer to do something, I always say what I'm doing on camera and to the officer. If he tells me to get my license, I say I'm going to reach into my glove compartment and get my wallet and my insurance. That way that people are aware of exactly what I'm doing and what's going on and what I'm reaching for. I think it's important to have a record.
Absolutely. Dialogue with them is always essential, no matter what. You could tell what their energy's like, where they're taking anything. If they are just, doing a routine stop and they have okay energy, it'll be a quick interaction. Versus if it's, excessive, that you know what you're in store for. But always communication is important. Eye-to-eye contact is important.
Absolutely, yeah.
But no, thank you. I appreciate you, digging into that because it's so essential for everyone to understand awareness because a lot of stuff I feel like can be prevented. If it does go to the extra mile, the best thing you can do is tell them, take me to jail. Hey, let's de-escalate everything. You want to go crazy, you want to put me in handcuffs, that's fine. Search me, put me in handcuffs, throw me in the backseat, do the paperwork, I'll be out in 2-3 hours.
Right.
And
but it's also important to know your rights and to know what legally, do they have the right to detain you? Do they have the right to arrest you? Have they explained to you why they're arresting you? It's very important to not just subjugate yourself to allowing the police to wield ultimate power or to do to you whatever they want to do. If you know that you're not in the wrong, if you know that you're not doing anything wrong, if you know that you're not in a situation where you're guilty of an arrestable offense, you need to ask for a supervisor. If you feel like a cop is agitated, if you feel like a police officer is agitated, you feel like they're taking things to another level where they don't need to be, request a supervisor. By law, they have to bring a supervisor to the scene where you're at if you request one. If they refuse to call a supervisor for you, tell the people on your live stream where you are, what your location is. Ask somebody on your live stream to call 911 and explain the situation of what's going on, and ask them to contact supervision at whatever police department you're at. Don't close your live stream to call 911. Tell your live stream to call 911 for you. That way you're not losing the ability to stream what's happening in the situation.
Oh, that's great information. Thank you. That's very wise.
Of course.
Man, so I'm going to go ahead. We're going to transition out. I'm going to go into my Trading Places segment. I'm going to go ahead and get that brain still going and working. And, it's just like that old school movie with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. They wake up and life's change. And I take that idea and we take, two moderns, icons and trade their places and talk about it. So for you today, I have Adam Sandler trading places with the rapper Lil Uzi Vert.
All
Question
right.
number one is, will it work?
Would it work?
Yes.
Uh, Shit, man. I don't. Would it? I mean, talent wise, listen. All right. This is really going to accentuate my age. I don't like mumble rap. I'm not a fan. Um, I like rap that has a message and that I can actually understand the message. So I think Adam Sandler could probably do Uzi's music a little bit better than Uzi could do Adam Sandler's comedy. I'll leave it like that. I think that would probably be. I mean, I wouldn't go to either of their concerts to be quite honest with you. And I'm definitely not going to be downloading any of Lil Uzi Vert's movies. So, yeah. But yeah, maybe.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I will tell you, I went to Camp Flognog last year, and I did see Lil Uzi Vert perform, and he performs like a quarter of the song, like a minute, and then all he does is just walk around the crowd and savage out. And it's like it's weird because you never see anybody ever perform like that. But
Yeah.
the crowd interaction and seeing why people respond to him is something amazing. It's like why? And then it's like it's very interesting.
I mean, I love great performers. If we're talking about live, if we're talking about a live performance, maybe. But his music in general, for me, not so much. Not a fan.
Oh yeah, it's all good, bro. To each his own. Who's your favorite artist?
Oh man, that's like asking me my favorite child. I'm obsessed with music. Can we go genre? What genre do you want?
Oh, well, good question. Let's go West Coast. You know,
West Coast, West Coast hip hop?
yes.
Pac, 100%. Gotta go with Pac. If we're doing East Coast hip hop, Nas all day.
Legends.
Yes,
Fair,
sir.
fair enough.
Damn, actually, Nas or Wu Tang. That's tough.
Oh,
I gotta go Nas. I'd have to say Nas.
sure. You went from Staten Islands to Queensbridge in like seconds, and
My bad.
it's all good. No,
I'm a fan of messages, man. I'm a fan of messages.
I say about 80% of the people I interview are rappers, producers, and I try to get more actors, comedians, athletes on here because it's important to get the message across because the basis of my show is pretty much the success stories. A lot of people are afraid of success, especially coming from the backgrounds we come from where, you don't know how people make millions of dollars other than selling dope or hitting licks. So, otherwise you make a choice to do jobs and go to school and see what happens. But it's a dream in their mind to be on TV or be a part of the show or, do their ideas that they have talent for, but they're scared because, they can't see it. They can't see it going further. And so some people, they have that where, nothing stops them, like yourself, like myself. I've been the person before that was like scared of success and seen something and was scared. And then I got an opportunity where someone pushed me over. And I was like, oh, there's a bridge over this cul-de-sac that brings you to it. And you just got to keep on working towards it at the same time. And, that's, the whole basis of my show. And then I flip it around and add in some other key elements. And I'm about to get into my in-post Q&A. But, I just wanted you to have just a key insight on, why I do what I do.
I appreciate that. I think it's important to let people know that pursuing your dream is the most important thing. Having a dream is one thing. Wanting a dream is another. But actually pursuing your dream and working towards your dream is the most important thing. The first step is the most important step. You constantly have to be grinding and hustling and not just. I think the problem is a lot of people want stuff, but they're not willing to work for it. You got to be willing to work for it.
See, a lot of people think about just the top floor and not realizing that in certain situations, you could be blessed and go from the bottom, get on an elevator and go to the top floor. But a lot of other situations, you have to go floor to floor, level to level, situation to situation, and, earn respect and have people learn your name, learn your face, learn what your talents are daily.
A lot of times it's better to do it that way. You appreciate it more. I feel like when you go from the bottom to the top, that's when you start getting artists that start having trouble with their success. They don't, they didn't learn the pitfalls on the way up. It's important to know. It's important to know the traps. When you learn the traps on the way up, then you know how to deal with them when you get there.
Oh yeah, if you know to slow down for a speed bump, you learn to slow down for a speed bump. You know,
That's right.
The radiator, pop the tire, your axle, all type of shit. The whole idea is you want to keep that car moving towards your dreams.
Exactly.
So my brother, I got 3 questions for you. It's called Impulse Q&A. If you don't like one of the questions, just pass on it. I'll pull another one, but you still got to answer 3 questions.
All right, let's do it.
From a fan perspective, so you know it's all fun. Question number 1. What would be the worst ingredient to fill a burrito with?
Oosh, damn. You know what? I hate lettuce in a burrito.
That shit drives me nuts.
I hate it, man. It gets all soggy and nasty, and like I don't understand why people put, like, if you want to have a salad, have a damn salad. That don't go in a burrito. Stop it.
I agree. You know what it reminds me of? You ever seen the videos in like China and how they have like this little microorganism and it becomes lettuce?
Yeah.
Whenever I eat the damn burritos with the lettuce, that's what I think I'm eating, that microorganism becoming lettuce.
Yeah. No, don't put lettuce in your burrito, man. Just eat a burrito. Stop it. Have a salad and a burrito.
There you go. Or have a taco salad. Make it interesting.
Yeah.
Question number 2. What is something you get wrong almost every time you do it?
Math. Anything to do with math, man. I'm terrible with math. I can count money like a mug, but when you start talking about like Dave leaves his house at 2 p.m. and travels 6 miles per hour, and I don't know, Dave's gonna end up lost if I'm doing the math.
Fair enough. Question number 3. What would you do if you were invisible for a day?
Ooh. Damn. You know what? This is actually an interesting question, but I would probably find out where my father lived, my biological father, and I would just haunt his ass for a day. I would just mess with him for a whole day and drive him insane. Sorry, my girlfriend's like running around. But yeah, that's what I would do. I would just, I would probably haunt my father for a day.
You know what? I got a bonus question, and, you know, I'm very interested to see what you would say. So I'm just going to ask, you know, bonus question, dun, dun, dun. If you were trapped in an elevator for 4 hours, who would you be in the elevator with, and what would you guys be talking about?
Oh man. Alive or dead?
Yeah, alive or dead.
Ooh. Damn, man. I would have to say, you know what? I would have to say, God, that's so hard because there's so many people that I want to have conversations with that I have so many questions for. I would have to say probably.
Give me 2.
Okay. One would be Albert Einstein. Just because I've always had an interest on where theorems come from, how you compute the intricacies of the universe without having ever been there. So I would say he would be one. And the other would be, you know what? I would like to have a conversation with Donald Trump, actually, to be 100% honest. I would like to see if he is who he really is on the media and in the light of the camera, or if this is all bullshit in a way for him to connect to the mindless middle of the country. I would like to know if he really is, because he's such an interesting character in the sense of
what's perceived.
Yeah, who he allows people to think he really is, but then the people that are close to him are so loyal to him, and there's got to be a reason for that. If he was just an asshole all the time, he wouldn't have such loyalties in his life. And there's people that on both sides that seem to be so connected to him. There has to be a reason for it. I want to know if it's all for show, if he really is just an asshole.
Right. Facts. I wouldn't mind knowing either. Like, you know, the guy that we got that fired you and talked about, you know, grabbing a girl's, you know, pussy by the horns, pretty much. Is he the same person that we got that's trying to be charismatic and talking shit about China and, you know, and so many other things?
It's just one of those things where it's like he's one of those people that's so he ignites such emotion in people, and people that typically have that ability to ignite emotion in people, they know what they're doing, and they're playing into it, into that role. Like you got people like Conor McGregor. I've met Conor McGregor. He's not in person. He's not the way that he is when the cameras are rolling. He's a totally different person. Very humble, very chill, very cool. But when the cameras are rolling, he's on. I'm wondering if Donald Trump is the same way. If he really believes some of the crazy, wild shit that he says. And to be honest, if I was in an elevator with him and he really was that person, I could slap him up a little bit. So that would be cool too. So it's kind of
Secret Service.
It's a win-win.
I've been told stories. You talk about Donald Trump like in a massive way, and people hear about you. They send the Secret Service to your door to say if you're like a problem to your country.
Yeah. You have to be careful. I probably shouldn't say I would slap him up in an elevator. Whoops.
No, you know, it's only in a fake reality. You know, nothing.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul, Donald.
I don't plan on being in any elevators with the president anytime soon anyway.
Hey, would you call Eric Weinstein if you were trapped in there with Albert Einstein?
Wait, what?
Would you call Eric Weinstein if you were trapped in the elevator with Albert Einstein, just because we have, you know, the parallel of today's genius compared to Albert Einstein's era?
That's interesting. It would be interesting to hear that debate. If I was going to hear debate between two people, I think it would be more so. I would like to see a debate between Albert Einstein and Elon Musk. To be honest, I think those two minds are so brilliant, and to hear them compare notes on the universe would be crazy amazing. Wow,
that's incredible. You have my mind just on like a Autobahn right now, trying to catch up. Wow. So man, you survived my awareness segment. You survived my trading places segment. You survived my impulse Q&A, and as a reward, you know, let's talk about what's coming out. Let's promote some of your work. Let's talk about it. I know we talked briefly about a little bit, but you know, lay it on me. I have a feeling you got a lot more in store than just what's been said so far.
So we've got obviously we've got the movie that I wrote and producing. It's called Topper. We've got some big names attached to it. I can't really talk about the leads yet, but we've got names like Anne Heche, Thomas Jane, Barry Corbin, Brian Callen, Crystalia, people like that. Season 2 of Games People Play on BET is coming up. I play the Coach Buxton on that show. Season 2 of Why Women Kill on CBS is also coming up. That's on CBS All Access. That show's very cool because it's kind of filmed in the same way that American Horror Story is filmed, where same actors but different characters each season. So it's pretty cool. The second season is going to be amazing. Really cool story. And then 2 shows that I'm looking to work on with Netflix right now. One is loosely based on Los Angeles in the 1920s. And the other one is loosely based on the last slave ship to America. I'm writing that with a very good friend of mine, very good African-American writer named Punky Johnson. So excited about that. So yeah, exciting stuff. And I'm also in the process of writing a film right now based on the Trail of Tears. I'm actually part Native American, so I want to tell the story of the Trail of Tears, the largest trail used to force Native Americans onto reservation lands in Oklahoma. So I want to tell stories. I'm tired of a world where we constantly just reboot movies and make movies out of comic books and video games. I want to tell stories. So yeah, you can also catch me on Instagram, of course, Kevin Mack. Catch me on TikTok, the Kevin Mack. And yeah, that's about it.
Fair enough, bro. You got a lot of stuff I'm excited to see. I'm really am, man. I want to take this moment to shout out Barbara Sanchez. I appreciate you, making this happen. So thank you.
Yeah, she's dope. I love Barbara. I appreciate her too.
So I gotta ask you, what is the goal long term? What's next? I mean, like once you get all this filming done, before you retire, what is some of the accolades that you want to see transpire? I'm
in the process right now of creating my own production company, Bad Lad Productions. That production company is going to be it's going to be a vessel for storytellers. I want to give opportunities to people that are looking to tell real stories. I want to open it up to artists, to people that don't get the opportunities to make movies with big major motion picture companies. I want to give opportunities to people from all ranges, specifically storytellers from underprivileged areas like Detroit, Chicago. Give people the opportunity to tell their story and to do it with a production company that isn't afraid to take on the tough subject matter. So at the end of the day, building a production company and directing. Eventually want to move away from acting and focus more on directing and producing. And yeah, I want to tell stories.
Yeah, deliver the vision.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna try and get in contact with you after this show because I definitely want to talk to you.
Yeah, man. I'm always down to create with good people and people that are trying to move the world forward.
Absolutely. It's important to know if you feel a gap or a hole, a pothole with information on how to not fall in that pothole. You inspire more than one. It's the whole idea is to start off with one, and it'll be a snowball effect.
Yeah, pay it forward. Always pay it forward.
Yes, sir. Hey, just fun question. Favorite purchase?
Cool. 1970 Chevy Nova SS. Built it from the ground up. That's my baby.
What size engine?
Come on, man.
You got the 4?
You know I got the 4.
He said, I got the 4 block. Don't play with me.
I got the 4. You know I got the 4, and I got the 6-speed transmission. Come on now.
Woo.
Hurst shifter, 520 horsepower to the wheels. We get it. We get it.
Be ready for that quarter mile. Don't play with him.
Keep your Teslas away from me, though. I can't keep up.
Man, so Kevin, if you notice the show's unique, it's different. I try to stay to the same guidelines as those other guys just because the formats or sort of how these things work. But, I try to be unique, and I'm like, how do I keep that same energy towards the end of the show? And, my viewers know I'm about to hit you with it. You got any questions for me?
Actually, I do. So you got family back in Michigan, in Detroit, Grand Rapids, and you're an East Coast guy now, right?
No, actually, my family moved from. My grandfather got a job at the Pentagon for the Department of Defense.
Damn.
So he moved from. They were running banks and building houses and doing wood. Fifth Third Street Bank. They had Third National Street Bank, and it merged with Fifth Third Street. And
right.
My great-grandfather started the Third Street National Bank.
Wow.
So from there, his son, after he passed away, took over the banks, and then he wanted to get out the banks, and he ended up getting a job for the Pentagon, for the Department of Defense, and my family moved there. And then my dad pretty much grew up out there with his brother, and they did phenomenal things, race cars, race boats, and kept it going, and my dad wanted to leave. And he came to LA, and here we are. But I get told all the time I need to go to Michigan and go check out the banks. They have a whole story about my great-grandfather, and how he helped start the banks.
So what was it that made you want to pursue this form of media? What made you want to start what you're doing now, a podcast?
Essentially, one, it's the new wave. Two, it's an easy field to jump into and allow yourself to excel. You pick the topics, you pick how you want to do it, and it allows you to really navigate on a platform that can really, transpire change that's transparent to people. And so that pretty much inspired me to do it. I got told no a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
No, I can't get a job doing promotions for the radio station. And I did general manager for an online radio station. In college, I had a radio show on Friday nights. And so I have history. But when it came down to wanting to do it for like a career, I quit working for a restaurant for a long time, managing it. And I was like, that's not what I want to do. So I'm like, boom, try this. No. And I tried to join a podcast. They told me no. I tried to start it with other people. They told me no. And then so now you have a product of what you have today.
I think what you're doing is something that's important. And this is something that I've been talking to young people about with a lot of the after school programs that we work with is I think the ability that we have nowadays to create content on our own and to put content out there into the world on our own gives us the ability to stop begging for our supper. A lot of the reason why I am starting my own production company and trying to step away from things, I'm tired of walking into an audition and knowing that I'm more talented than a lot of people in the room, but not getting those opportunities because of who they know or who they're related to or a look they have or what have you. I'm tired of begging for my supper, and I'm tired of begging for projects, quite frankly, that I don't believe in or stories that I don't believe in. If I'm going to walk in a room and I'm going to put my effort forth to learn a script or to take on a project and put my full focus into something, I want it to be something that I believe in, not something that's been done 1,000 times. So I think it's important for people nowadays to create a brand. Don't just have a platform. Don't just do Instagram. Don't just do TikTok, but have a brand. Create a brand of who you are. Create a brand with your name. And work towards making that brand lucrative, and make people beg for your supper. Stop begging people for scraps and get out there and make people beg for your food.
Attracting wealth, brother. You're talking about attracting wealth. It's taking those talents and recognizing your gifts and applying them and apply and apply and apply until, not only do you get somewhere, you make a difference.
The law of attraction, my friend.
Absolutely. And people forget the ability of wealth is more power than the ability of being rich, because the ability of wealth keeps on creating, it keeps on evolving, and you keep on evolving yourself to meet the high demands. And as long as you reflect and understand what's real in yourself, that's the best part of this whole journey.
Couldn't agree more.
So man, Kevin, I'm gonna close out, and then the last thing I'm asking you to do is a drop. And then this will be a wrap. I appreciate your time so much, Kevin.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
All right, boom. It's Contrast Uncut. It's season 3, episode 31. Man, big shout outs to Uncle Snoop's Army and Bobby D Presents. I appreciate you, brothers. I wouldn't be able to do incredibly dope shit like interviewing Kevin Mack and talking about everything possible and inspiring others. And I mean, we're getting real testimonies from growing up from Detroit and moving to LA. And, a lot of people become homeless and become beach bums because the dream doesn't work. And, Kevin Mack gave the testimony of what it took. He gave everything on this show. So I really greatly appreciate you, man. So make sure you tune into this brother on his couple of shows he's on and many, many platforms, his Major Wave podcast and many, many more. Kevin Mack, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. What's up, y'all? This is Kevin Mack from Why Women Kill. I appreciate y'all coming out. Make sure that you check out Contrast Uncut, of course, with all of the best interviews out there in the game right now. Shouts out to Bobby D Presents and, of course, Uncle Snoop's Army for putting my man on. Much appreciated. See y'all soon.
Hey.
My nigga, this ain't what you want. Can I kick it when I'm rhyming? Be a legend through Ebonics. Was a sticker boy. Felt like sticky fingers played at Onyx. Can I live track 8? Feel like Jigga 96. Without a reasonable doubt, the album turned me into this. Shit, we always had dreams of being money making Mitch. Without jewelry on. Hit a jail pose. Take a flick. Feel like Pac and keep your head up. Biggie shooting juice. Coach is still alive. Just let me prove. King, nigga.
Everything that you do, baby, I salute you.
Man, I know you guys can't smell this right now, and I ain't talking about none of that other stuff. I'm talking about some of that good stuff, that smell good stuff. I think it's breakfast. What time is it? It's breakfast time. Make sure you tune in to Contrast Uncut no matter what you're doing. Whether you're eating breakfast, you're smelling good food like I'm smelling, or if you're smelling other stuff, we're good to watch too. Make sure you tune in. Thank you.